What's up guys, my name's Cam, you're watching Sarai Garage, and today I'm going to share with you the top 5 things I love about our 2011 BMW X5 50i. Let's get into it. So the first thing I love about the X5 is something that I can't really explain to you guys, or I can't really show it to you guys, but I can explain it to you. And that is how this thing rides, okay? From the factory, these things come with run flat tires. They ride kind of rough. If you change them out to standard tires, oh my goodness, what a difference it makes. These things ride and roll like no other. And they're so heavy, they're so bulky, just the way that they're put together. I don't know how to explain it. You just gotta drive one to feel it. You know, any other car, doesn't matter what car we have an Escalade, we have Mercedes. Well, to be fair, that's a sedan. But all these other cars, when you're driving on the highway, you got a lot of wind resistance coming at you, or it's really windy. You know, these cars get moved around a little bit by the wind. But this thing is a tank. It doesn't move, it doesn't budge a bit, and I love that about it. It's such a baller feeling when you're driving this thing. It's just so heavy, and it just smoothly glides over the road. I just love the way this thing rides. It's awesome. The second thing I love about the E70 X5 is just the way that it looks. Personally, this is my favorite generation of the X5. If you're not too familiar with BMWs, the first generation was the E53, and this is the second generation. I believe now we're at the 4th or 5th, the G05 generation of X5. But me personally, this is the best looking. After this one, it got kind of weird. It got like all skinny and kind of feminine. This one though, this one's a brute, man. This is a baller. It's a big wide body X5. It just look at it, guys. Let me give you guys a little walk around of what this thing looks like. Just look at it. It's so beefy and chunky. The lines, the little crease right there, all of it. And they put really wide running boards on this generation to make it look super cool. Look at the 50i exhaust tips. Those big dual beefy exhaust tips. Just look at it. And this is the LCI, so this is a refreshed one. And so ours even has some really cool LED lights for the rear lights that are lines. Dude, I love it. I'm crazy about it. I'm actually so sad. This is a 2011. It's at 92,000 miles. We're getting ready to sell it, actually. 20 grand if you're interested. But this is gonna make me really sad, honestly. I would rather have a brand new one of these with like Apple CarPlay instead of a brand new X5, because I love the way these things look, man. Ever since a little kid, this is my favorite generation. There's no better looking X5 than the E70. All right, guys, the third thing I love about this BMW is what I love about all BMWs, and that's how adjustable this seat is. Now, if you've watched my 330i video, I talked about the same thing in this car, but this is a really high spec and expensive model in their lineup, so these seats are next level compared to that 330. Let me show you real quick what you can do with these seats. Hopefully you can tell all the adjustments you can do just by looking at it, but look at all these switches and buttons down here. Look, we have a separate switch just for the lumbar extension, and it's powered. This makes such a difference, guys. And I mean, like, then, you know, you want to talk about stupid adjustments. There's this. This is actually the back adjustment, right? This is your back adjustment and your, what do they call this? Your lumbar support in the middle here. But if you take this whole thing and push it up, you actually have powered headrests. Now that's pretty stupid and not really necessary, but it is pretty baller, which is exactly what this X5 is all about. And keeping up with the headrests, these headrests are actually technically called pillows because you can bend the sides, both sides, and turn them into plush little pillows for your head. How sick is that? And the one adjustment that I love from BMW seats the most that 330 that I reviewed didn't have, it's this actually for the back piece. So you can either hold this back piece and twist it as one big block and it moves the whole seat, right? Or you have these secondary buttons built into that, and what that does is it moves just the top half. It's such a game changer, guys. Even Mercedes, I mean, maybe they do it on some of their more expensive newer cars, but for the longest time, even Mercedes didn't do this, and it's such a game changer. I absolutely love this about this car. And, you know, the adjustments are endless. You can also adjust the side bolsters by one of these buttons. It's this one here. These two dots are, fill up with air and depress. Let's see if I press the right one. Yeah, you can see it moving and hugging you. And then you press this one and hold it. and it loosens back up. It's just endless. It's absolutely endless. More seat adjustments than a Rolls Royce in this BMW X5. I love it. Continuing on with this interior, the fourth thing I love about this car is something that a lot of auto manufacturers could learn from BMW, and that is the simplicity. You know, BMWs really remind me of iPhones because they're just simple, and honestly, among like a lot of rich people I know, they are really the standard. You know, a lot of people that buy these cars, they work really hard. They're busy working. The last thing they want to do is buy a nice car for themselves and spend 5 hours trying to figure out how all this works, right? Like the control system, in this case, it's iDrive. But what BMW really does, you know, lovely, is they really simplify the driver interface and ownership experience for its users. Except for the AC. If you own a BMW, you understand what I mean. It's a bit confusing for the AC. I'll explain that. But overall, it's very easy to see where everything is. Headlight controls are very simple right here. Unlike my CLS 63, which I have to say, even after, gosh, like 6 years of ownership, I still struggle with the headlight controls and turning on the fog lights. It's a really weird thing that they got going on, but this is super simple. This controls your headlights and boom, there's your fog lights, and you can see that green little light turns on. It's super simple. Just like this, you know, you got heated and cooled seat controls. This is obviously your heat. And right next to it, you got a little fan next to the seat, and you got cooled seats. Super simple, not like you gotta go into the interface and do a bunch of stuff while driving to activate it. You know what I mean? It's all right there. Even the newer ones, it's the exact same thing. They got little buttons just like this. It makes owning it a lot easier and a lot nicer, especially for the type of people that buy this car, like my parents. Finally, the last thing I love about this car, if you watch my videos, you know I like to find little things that don't really mean a lot to other people, but they're what really make a big difference for me. And that would be what we got in the back seats. Now, I do believe this was an option for the E70. Not all of them have it, but ours does. Ours is pretty loaded out here. It's this, the little manual side shades for the windows. This makes such a big difference, especially if you have little kids. Like when we first bought this car, my little sister Becca, she was only like, we bought this car like 4 years ago, so she was like 4 or 5 years old. You got a little kid back here, the sun's like beating down on him. It's not a nice experience. And you know, if you don't have these, you have to buy those dinky little like suction cup ones that don't really do a whole lot of anything, and they look really ugly on the windows. I love that this is an option. Mercedes for the longest time didn't even offer this as an option, but BMW's offered it as an option for as long as I can remember. They're super high models, like their flagship 7 Series. These are actually all powered, but at least on the X5 you can option it with manual side shades, and I love that about this car. It's a really nice touch, and it makes a heck of a difference in the summer and when there's a lot of sunlight. Guys, Jord, what do you like most about the BMW? Awesome.
Bro, get that light on.
Becca, what do you like about the BMW the most?
How smooth it drives.
How do you know how smooth it drives? You ever drive it?
No.
So how do you know how smooth it
But I
drives?
feel it.
What do you feel?
Everything.
Okay. Sahib, any comments? Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.